Every third Monday in January, the United States observes Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a federal holiday honoring the life and accomplishments of the significant African American leader of the civil rights movement. Born on January 15, 1929, Michael King, Jr. was the son of Baptist preacher Michael King Sr., who had visited Germany and been influenced by reformer Martin Luther. King Sr. and his son both changed their names as a consequence. Martin Luther King Jr. enrolled in Morehouse College at the age of 15. He saw firsthand how the Jim Crow laws divided whites and blacks in public spaces as a child. Furthermore, African Americans were excluded from the electoral process. He completed his PhD at Boston University in 1955. Following the Rosa Parks incident in 1955, King Jr. made his initial appearance in the civil rights movement. When Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat to a white man, she was taken into custody. King and other leaders of the African American community launched the 381-day Montgomery bus boycott. The Supreme Court declared that racial segregation was illegal following the boycott. King was influenced by Mahatma Gandhi as an activist to use nonviolent demonstrations. MLK gave his renowned "I Have a Dream" address in 1963, which went on to become one of the most well-known speeches in American history. His ideal society would allow for the harmonious coexistence of black and white people. After a year, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize at the youngest age possible in recognition of his efforts to end racial prejudice and segregation. Standing on the balcony of his hotel room in Memphis in 1968, MLK was slain. Following his arrest for the murder, James Earl Ray was incarcerated for life until his death in 1998. Campaigns to declare MLK's birthday a public holiday arose following his passing. Up to its endorsement in 1976, the campaign was dominated by trade unions. 6 million signatures later, in 1983, the measure was passed into law by President Ronald Reagan. The first Martin Luther King, Jr. Day was commemorated in several states 3 years later. In 2000, this day was observed in every state in remembrance of the significant African American leader of the civil rights movement. Civil Rights Day honors the movement as a whole rather than just King. On this day, people around the country advocate for equal rights for everyone. It is time for educators to teach students in schools about the legacy of Martin Luther King, Jr. and the realities of racial discrimination and segregation in the U.S. In the U.S., a few schools and institutions have their Christmas vacation going until MLK Day. In addition, some people volunteer on this day by spending it in volunteer centers. The Martin Luther King, Jr. Federal Holiday and Service Act was signed into law by President Bill Clinton, designating it as a National Day of Humanitarian Service. Illinoisans can enter many Chicago institutions featuring displays honoring MLK's life and legacy without having to pay an entry fee. A few organize poetry readings and musical events including topics related to MLK's dream. Annual events concerning the civil rights movements include film screenings and musical performances in Cleveland, Ohio. Approximately 500 national parks are free to enter on this day. There are 4 occasions a year when these admission costs are eliminated, and MLK Day is one of them. Many residents of Washington, D.C. visit the Martin Luther King, Jr. Memorial on the National Mall, which is the site of the March on Washington's conclusion. Florida and Colorado host 2 of the largest yearly parades in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Huge crowds can attend a variety of programs that promote multiculturalism and King's dream. In Denver, the Martin Luther King, Jr. Parade, a march and parade combined, became an annual event honoring his life and accomplishments. George Washington and Christopher Columbus are the only two people who have national holidays named after them, aside from Martin Luther King Jr. For days after King's death, Michigan Congressman John Conyers initially suggested a law honoring him. Nevertheless, it wasn't passed until 1983. The holiday was originally abolished by states that had formerly held slaves because it fell on the birthday of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. In addition to the U.S., Hiroshima, Japan, Toronto, Canada, and Holland also observe MLK Day. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more exciting content from Junior Library's Whitey Classroom.